Well, hello, welcome to my channel. I guess you want to know who I am. My name's Tristan, and this channel is going to be all about me trying to fix myself. So, I've got various ailments, which I'll chat a little bit about in a minute, and this is kind of my journey, the ups and downs of me trying to sort of repair myself and, hopefully live a bit longer than, my curve would suggest. So without further ado, let's sort of get into it, and I'll give you a bit of context. So not that long ago, maybe 6 years ago, I was really active. I ran a lot of marathons and ultra marathons. That's me, really. And in fact I ran 14 marathons in 2014, and I ran actually over 1,200 miles that year. So that shows me now most of my running was done off-road, up mountains, etc. So I was fairly active. I mean, I wasn't the fastest in the world, but I was out there doing it, and I was enjoying it. It was fantastic. But things kind of changed after that, sort of 2006. But sort of prior to that, 2008, I should say that I was diagnosed with clinical depression and a few other mental health issues, and it was a misdiagnosis, unfortunately. But one of the ways I was using to cope with things was by running, etc., and being out in the countryside. So, which did work to a point. Skip forward a few years to 2016, when the running wasn't going so well, nothing was going so well, and then I was diagnosed with a psychiatric condition called bipolar disorder. In fact, bipolar type 2 to be sort of more specific. Now, this condition is something that I will talk about through my vlogs, but I'm not going to focus on it too much, because personally for me it doesn't do me any good to focus on it too much. It's something that I have to live with and will always have to live with, so I just try and kind of cope with it. So there are some things that probably a lot of people don't know about bipolar disorder, is that it can affect your physical health quite dramatically, and that's what appears to have happened to me. Now, don't get me wrong, I've always struggled a little bit with my weight since sort of early adulthood, but the sort of being bipolar and the sort of medications I've had to try, because it is a trial and error with the medication to find the right one. I mean, thankfully now I am on one that seems to be working for me, which is lithium, which also comes with complications, but none severe as what I've tried prior to that, and I ended up putting on a lot of weight, as you can see. Now, it's weird for me because I think you've probably heard of sort of body dysmorphia. I seem to have the opposite of that. It is that I never really felt like I was overweight. I would still do things that I probably didn't appear like I should be able to do, and it was only when I saw photographs of myself or my reflection I was quite shocked, and every time, and I still am really, although my physical health has taken a tumble. Now, 2020, how's it been for you? Yeah, same for me. I mean, on the whole, it's been a really, really challenging year for pretty much everybody around the world, I would think. For me, there's been other challenges on top of that, and I seem to have been collecting illnesses like a stamp collector collects stamps. I mean, it started the year off with something called hypothyroidism, which basically means my thyroid gland doesn't produce enough thyroxine, I guess. This is a kind of a minor one really, because it's fully treatable with medication. I take medication for it, and it was something I was expecting because my thyroid levels were low before I started on lithium, and lithium is known to damage the thyroid gland, so it was something I was anticipating, but it was just another thing to deal with and another load of medication to take. So not the great start to the year. And then it was the quite scary sort of angina appeared, and I had to go for various tests, including an angiogram and various other things, and they diagnosed me with angina, and I'm on medication for that, and also in conjunction with my blood pressure as well. That's quite a scary one, and that does restrict me, and it's something I'm so aware of every day, because the minute I start walking even, I can feel it, so it's a big worry. And more or less in tandem with that, I was diagnosed with morbid obesity. Now that's two scary words. Well, I think they are anyway. So morbid obesity means you're so overweight you could die basically, and yeah, it scared the hell out of me, to be honest. Now, morbid obesity basically means I'm fat and I'm significantly overweight and I have a very high BMI. Now, this is scary, not just on a physical of your health, and you know it's can be life limiting, etc. And it's also probably the cause of all these other ailments I'm getting. But socially, it's difficult because I think being overweight and possibly still being ginger, which I am both obviously, is still a sort of almost a socially acceptable sort of prejudice. People, you know, have opinions on you because you're overweight, and that's not fair because there's various reasons for being overweight. For me, I don't know the actual, well, I know that medication played a big role in it, certainly, and I've always struggled with it, so it could be a genetic element as well. I'm not making excuses, it is down to what I eat, but also coping with having bipolar disorder as well. One of my coping mechanisms is comfort eating and things like that, so it's quite a complex series of things to address to sort of start improving, you know, and losing weight, etc. So hopefully this vlog will highlight some of those, the ups and the downs. And the kind of final illness that 2020 has thrown at me is also a very scary one. It's diabetes type 2, and this is one that I've kind of been expecting because some of the medications I've been on have heightened my blood sugars and also being overweight. And the weird thing was I was told I was pre-diabetic, so I was imminently diabetic, and I didn't really change anything. I just kind of ignored it. And then a couple of months ago I was told I was diabetic, actually in a diabetic zone, and again I buried my head in the sand. I didn't want to accept it. It scared the hell out of me, and I didn't do anything about it. And then sort of recently, in the last week, last couple of weeks, I've got quite ill. I can't really explain it, just felt unwell. And so I went to the doctors. I did an ECG just to check it wasn't anything to do with my heart. ECG was fine, good news. But the symptoms I explained to the doctor, she said that is sounds like symptoms of diabetes. So that was a kick up the backside I needed, and I've started changing, trying to learn about it as much as I can, trying to monitor. I've started monitoring my own blood, my own glucose levels in my blood by using a finger prick tester, which isn't the most fun thing in the world to do, I'm sure you can imagine, and trying to understand what foods are causing me sugars to go high, and at the moment I'm still in the sort of trial and error period. Unfortunately, I think COVID has messed things up a lot with doctors and things, as I've not really been given any good guidance. I've not seen a diabetic nurse, and you know, I'm kind of doing it alone, really, just doing it from my own research. I found a really good group on Facebook actually called for type 2 diabetics in the UK, and I've got a lot of information from that. But you know, you've got to pick and choose your information because you don't know what's, you know, works for you or what's correct. That's where you need the guidance from the NHS, and at the moment I'm not getting that, so I'm going to get onto them and try and see if I can get an appointment with a diabetic nurse, and hopefully that'll put me on a better path with it all. So lots going on, as you can imagine, and you know, if I don't do anything about most of these ailments, then I'm going to die young. And you know, I've got family, I've got things I want to do in my life. I don't want to die young, despite what my brain might tell me when I'm going through quite a bad depressive stage with bipolar. You know, I've got a lot to live for. So that's why I started this YouTube channel. So the plan is for me to vlog, so make short videos basically of my progress, maybe 2 or 3 times a week initially. I'll see how it goes to see if I do more or less, but at the moment I plan to do 2 or 3 times a week, and just showing you basically my day-to-day life and the changes I'm making, if you know, the changes are having a good effect, if they're not, and it's going to be a very sort of frank and honest look at what I'm doing. You know, I said before that I sort of used to run, and I don't know if I'll ever get to that point again in reality, but I'd like to head in that direction. So, and I'm not saying it's going to be easy, it's not going to be easy, it's going to be hellishly hard at times. So I will be vlogging my ups and downs, and you know, my progress and my setbacks, and etc. So if this is something you think you'll be interested in following or supporting, then please do consider subscribing to my channel, and also click that notification bell so you get notified of sort of new uploads, because there'll be regular uploads. I'll try and keep them relatively short unless I'm dealing with a, you know, specific subject like diabetes, which I'll probably do relatively soon whilst it's all new to me. And you know, I just hope it's something you enjoy. So and if it is, share it around, let people know, because it'd be great to have a sort of supportive community. And obviously if you've got any questions about anything I'm doing, then please do ask in the comment sections. I will do my best to answer every question. And also I should say, and it's sort of a bit of a disclaimer, and fairly obviously I am not a medical professional. I will be seeking advice from medical professionals, but just because it works for me doesn't mean to say it'll work for you. So if you are making big changes in your life because of your physical health, then definitely chat it through with your sort of medical professional. That's all I could say really. And a bit of a plug for my other channel is, if you're interested in wildlife and that sort of thing, I've got another channel called That Inked Naturalist, and that's been going a little while now, so check that out. I will put a link to it in the end cards, so check that out. So anyway, I've jibber jabbered enough, and I will hopefully see you in the next video. Okay then, bye.